2 hours ago, a war that has been fought with missiles, drones, and naval mines for 32 days formally crossed a new threshold. For the first time in the conflict, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps named the specific companies it intends to destroy, and the list reads like an inventory of the devices in your pocket, on your desk, and running the infrastructure of your daily life. Apple, Google, Microsoft, Meta, Nvidia, Tesla, Intel, IBM, Oracle, Dell, Cisco, HP, Boeing, JP Morgan, GE, Palantir, Spire Solutions, and UAE-based AI company 42, 18 companies, a combined market capitalization in the trillions. Offices, data centers, cloud computing infrastructure, and AI research facilities spread across the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. All of them, according to the IRGC statement, distributed through SEPA News and IRGC-linked Telegram channels Tuesday, legitimate targets as of 8 p.m. Tehran time on Wednesday, April 1st. For every assassination and terrorist act in Iran, one facility or unit belonging to these companies will face destruction, the IRGC statement said. We advise employees of these institutions to immediately leave their workplaces to protect their lives. Residents within a 1-kilometer radius of these terrorist companies across all countries in the region are also urged to evacuate and move to safe locations. This is not the language of a military targeting military assets. This is the language of a state actor formally expanding the definition of legitimate targets to include the private commercial infrastructure of its adversary, and warning the civilian employees of those companies to get out before the strikes begin. Why the IRGC believes tech companies are military participants. To understand why this threat represents a qualitative escalation rather than just another Iranian warning, you have to understand what these companies actually do in the Middle East, and why the IRGC believes they are, in its framing, participating in the war. The IRGC's stated rationale is precise and documented. The statement accused American information and communications technology companies and AI companies of being the main element in designing and tracking assassination targets, a reference to the systematic killing of Iranian commanders, officials, and scientists that has proceeded alongside the air campaign. This is not an unfounded accusation in its structural logic. Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud received a joint $1.2 billion contract from the Israeli government under Project Nimbus, which provided Israel with what UN Human Rights Rapporteur Francesca Albanese described as virtually government-wide access to cloud and AI technologies. Microsoft provides cloud infrastructure to Israeli defense entities. But Palantir, explicitly named in the IRGC list, is a defense AI company whose CEO, Alex Karp, has publicly celebrated the firm's role in targeting operations during the ongoing war. Oracle has historical ties to the CIA dating to its founding. The IRGC's framing that these companies are not neutral commercial entities but active participants in military targeting operations is a legal and strategic escalation that transforms the corporate geography of the Middle East into a battlefield. The dozens of data centers, regional headquarters, and cloud infrastructure nodes that American tech companies have built across the Gulf in recent years were constructed to capitalize on the region's energy surplus and sovereign wealth fund investment in AI. They are now, according to Tehran, military installations. Iran has already demonstrated this is not rhetorical. In early March, Iranian drones struck and damaged several Amazon Web Services data centers in the UAE and Bahrain, causing outages in apps and digital services across the region. The April 1st threat is not a first move. It is an escalation of an operation that has already begun. How the companies responded and what their silence means. The companies named in the IRGC list responded with the minimum possible public acknowledgement. Intel issued the most direct statement. The safety and well-being of our team is our #1 priority. We are taking steps to safeguard and support our workers and facilities in the Middle East and are actively monitoring the situation. That sentence, "We are taking steps to safeguard our workers," is an implicit acknowledgement that the threat is credible enough to require a security response. Intel did not say the threat was baseless. It did not say its facilities were protected. It said it was taking steps and monitoring the situation. Nvidia, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Meta, and most others did not immediately respond to media requests for comment. That silence is its own data point. No company on the list wanted to publicly engage with the IRGC's characterization of its activities as military participation. The U.S. State Department responded separately, in issuing an advisory Tuesday warning American citizens in Saudi Arabia to shelter in place amid reports of threats against hotels, U.S. businesses, and educational institutions. The advisory covered the geographic overlap between the IRGC target list and the presence of U.S. citizens in the region, but did not directly address the corporate target list. A former IRGC commander appeared on Iranian state television the same day and went further than the written threat. He said Iran possesses electromagnetic weapons capable of disabling an entire city's power and electronic systems without harming civilians. Capabilities, he claimed, had been deliberately withheld because Iran was trying to avoid targeting infrastructure. "That's why we have no concern about the war continuing or becoming prolonged," he said. The implication? What Iran has deployed so far is not its ceiling. Why targeting tech infrastructure is different from every previous escalation. The strategic dimension of targeting tech companies is different from targeting military bases, oil terminals, or even commercial shipping, and the difference matters for how this conflict develops. Military bases are understood by all parties as legitimate targets in wartime. Oil terminals are economically devastating but structurally bounded. They can be rebuilt. Commercial shipping disrupts trade, but does not fundamentally alter the technological architecture that modern economies depend on. Data centers, cloud infrastructure, and AI processing facilities are different. A successful attack on the Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure infrastructure serving the UAE and Gulf region does not just damage one company. It disrupts the digital services of tens of millions of people, banking systems, healthcare networks, logistics platforms, communications infrastructure that depend on that cloud architecture for their daily function. It potentially degrades military systems that run on commercial cloud contracts. And it sends a message to every foreign company that has invested billions in Middle East technology infrastructure that its assets are exposed to a military actor with demonstrated willingness and capability to strike them. This is the specific threat that defense security analysts are calling unprecedented, not the physical damage any individual strike could cause, but the signal that civilian commercial technology infrastructure in the Gulf is no longer off-limits in this conflict. The IRGC list includes Palantir, the company most directly associated with AI-assisted military targeting. It includes Nvidia, whose processors power the AI systems used by military and intelligence agencies. It includes Boeing, which manufactures the B-52 bombers that General Kane confirmed were flying over Iranian territory for the first time in the war on Tuesday. These are not random tech companies. They are the specific companies whose products are, in various ways, inside the targeting systems that have killed more than 1,900 people in Iran since February 28th. Whether the strikes actually happen, beginning at 8 p.m. Tehran time Wednesday, and what they hit if they do, will define whether April 1st becomes a date that restructures the geographic and commercial risk calculus of this conflict, or whether the threat recedes as another escalation that did not materialize. What is already true is that the list exists, was formally issued by Iran's primary military force, was widely reported by every major outlet on Earth, and told the employees of Apple, Google, Microsoft, and 17 other companies operating in the Middle East to leave their workplaces before it began.